It was 1:47 a.m. when someone knocked 3 times on my camper door. The Forest Service map said the spur road was closed, but the gate chain hung loose like a forgotten necklace. Rain worked the pines into a whisper. I palmed the keys and waited for a beam of light. None came. "Forest Service," a man said close. "You can't stay here." "Engine on. Follow me. Don't look to your right." Through the screen, I saw the hat brim first, then a long coat. No flashlight, no badge. He didn't ask for my license or where I came in. I said I'd pack the stove. "No stove," he replied softer. "Just drive." I put the van in gear. The rain thickened to strings. I eased forward, expecting taillights. Nothing. Still, his voice guided me from the shoulder like he was walking beside my window. "Keep your eyes on me." Of course I looked right. Past my beams, the trees leaned the same way, branches combed toward the mountain. Beyond them ran a second strip of dirt, a parallel road that mirrored every stump and ditch. It shimmered through the rain. There, not there, there again. At 1:52 a.m., a metal post slid past my window, a flaking sticker that said mile. No number. 30 seconds later, the same post glinted again. Now a wet scrawl of rust read 27. "You're almost out," he said. "Gate ahead." His silhouette never cast a shadow in my beams. The rain beaded on his hat without dripping. The chain on the gate lifted in my headlights and then sagged like a curtain. Fresh boot prints appeared in the wet dust under the bar, heading outward and stopping at the edge of my light. No returning prints. My speedometer hovered at 5. The wipers smeared what they cleared, and the heater fan hiccuped. I realized I was gripping the wheel enough to ache. At dawn, I drove straight to the ranger station off the highway, hands still buzzing. I told the desk officer everything. The loose chain, the voice, the second road, the milepost that decided to grow a number in the rain. He listened too politely, weighing whether to fine me. "Which milepost?" he asked. 27, I said, before I could talk myself out of it. He pulled a binder, flipped pages, stopped. He nudged it toward me. A photo stared back, a tall man with a brimmed hat, long coat, badge clipped low. The caption, "Ranger Carroll, badge 27. Deceased 1998. A landslide crushed his truck on a decommissioned cut near an unnumbered spur." "The gate you described doesn't move," the officer said. "It's been welded shut for years. If you got in, it wasn't through there." He looked as confused as I felt, then closed the binder with a soft thud. I went home telling myself I'd dreamed half of it. That night I pulled the Dashcam card. The video showed rain, wipers, the ghost of a milepost flashing MILE, then 27, and my hands white on the wheel. No figure in the beams. No hat, no coat. The chain on the gate never lifted. It just hung. Then the scene jump cut to the highway shoulder like I'd blinked through seconds I didn't remember. The audio, though, clean. 3 measured knocks. A man's voice where I remembered it. "Forest Service." "Engine on. Follow me. Don't look to your right." Under his words, a faint track like a room fan. When he said gate, a tiny click bled through, the sound of a handheld mic keying. I haven't camped on closed roads, and if rain wakes me at 1:47, I count drops until I hear nothing between them. That night left a rule to this day. If a voice tells you not to look to your right, you'll never like what you see when you do. We took the site under the sycamores at Elkmont because the host said it stayed quiet after midnight. By 12:06 a.m., the rain had settled into a soft, steady pattern that made our voices go low. Jess read in the back while I sat under the awning, watching lantern light bead on the seam and fall. The fabric pushed inward by my shoulder. Not a sag, not a gust, a slow, deliberate pressure that traced the seam toward the aluminum arm, as if a thumb were dragging under the canvas from outside. "Wind?" Jess asked, sliding the door. "Wind doesn't know where the hardware is," I said. The pressure stopped at the arm and tapped once. A small, polite ping like a ring dropped on metal. I stood. The chair scraped too loud. "We're occupied," I called into the rain. The bulge lifted higher, the way a head lifts when a person stands. Then it moved back across the seam, slower now, like someone memorizing the path. Rain ran in currents where the canvas bent. The lantern drew a warm oval on the fabric, and inside it the shape of a knuckle held until the seam creaked. From the other side came breathing, not an animal's snort or a drunk's laugh. A wet, patient inhale right against the awning, followed by water pouring off something as weight shifted. I reached for the crank. "On 3, I said. "Roll it in." We turned the handle together. The canvas rolled with a rubbery groan. The pressure followed, riding the roll toward the mount, refusing to lose contact. When the housing thumped home, the bulge collapsed. Something soft and heavy slapped the side panel, like a soaked jacket thrown against a locker. We held the door and listened. Rain, cooling metal ticks, a distant car hiss. No footsteps, no bear grunt. Jess swallowed loud enough to count. "Do not open it again," she said. "Not tonight." We slept with the door locked and the windows cracked for noise, because silence would have been worse. At 12:41 a.m., something pinged the awning housing again. Once, then nothing. We counted 30 breaths. The rain smoothed back into a hush like the campground had swallowed us. Morning turned the gravel pale. I expected torn canvas or claw scrapes. Instead, there were 5 long, muddy streaks pulled down from just below the roofline, parallel like spread fingers dragged slow. No tracks under the mount, no crushed ferns. Near the passenger mirror, a small heap of river pebbles sat in a hand-sized oval. Jess didn't see me collect them. I bagged the pebbles and asked the host about bears. He shrugged. "Bears rip," he said. "They don't press." Also, folks forget Elkmont was a town. Flood took a lot. People stay. He went back to his list. We drove home under clearing skies. The panel dried clean, but faint tracks reappeared when the sun hit at an angle, 5 pale lines like memory. That night I set the bag of pebbles on the kitchen counter and checked the weather at Elkmont. A small cell would cross the ridge around 3:10 a.m. At 3:11, my driveway camera recorded a metal ping, the same pitch as the awning arm. The clip showed rain and the van still. No figure, no raccoon, just the sound. The bag had tipped onto the tile while we slept. Morning showed stones arranged in 5 narrow lines and a stubby arc like a thumb, the same shape I'd wiped from the paint. Jess picked one up and frowned. "Why bring those home?" I put them back in the bag and didn't have an answer. We keep the awning rolled now, even in good weather. Sometimes when rain starts, the housing ticks once like a courtesy knock to see if anyone's awake. If we hear it, we talk softer and count the beats until it stops.